All right, here the CPI number came out, and you can see the U.S. Good morning. This is Doc from North America. The CPI number came out. Here it is right now. The numbers. It was. They thought it was going to be 0.1% estimated, but it came unchanged. Let's see. Okay, so the expectation we talked about yesterday, where it was going to be 3.3, came out as 3.4, but month over month it was unched. So that they see that as positive. It's Dow Jones Industrial Average is up like 242 points. Let's see what else we got here. Let's do this. Let's minimize that. Let's see. We'll just go like this, and let's get the chat line up in case anybody's saying, "Doc, what about this, that, or the other thing?" So let's see. So that goes like that, and then we go like that, and we're trying to get tuned in, and you can see the stock market, with that nice pop right here from the news. So May CPI year over year was 3.4. Like I said, they thought it was going to be 3.3. So it's rising, and the month over month was unchanged compared to being up 0.1%. So woohoo! But you can see that momentum, is moving up even more. What I keep on telling as I say here all the time. I take the last 3 months and the last 12th month. So basically 4 months, I look at it, and it's moving up. Now the bonds. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, and so let's see what the bonds are. The bonds are 12 pips down. Interesting to see. Let's show you what the bonds look like. Right. Let's see, where is it at? Right there. You see that big spike? That is the price of the bond. It went into the buy yesterday. You can see that right there. Let's put the little line in there. So you can see they feel comfortable that we're at that they're looking at this as the inflation is transitory and the interest rates are going to be transitory, and so what we're going to see is May core CPI was up 3.5 versus 3.4. May CPI, okay, yeah, so I'm just seeing more numbers come in. But what it really comes down to is inflation is not backing away, and so we're coming down to the end of it all, and that's what it really comes down to, because it's going up. So inflation is increasing, and the market's looking at it that, okay, we must be near the end. Just because month over month was unchanged, probably. You never know with them. They're always funny like that. But you can see the bond traders, who are the true, let's put it this way, they're the real deal when it comes to trading left. Out of all this over the last, since 2009, basically, the bond traders are the only thing left really worth paying attention to, and the currency traders. Stock market's moving back a little bit. Nothing major, just a couple ticks down. I mean, that could be 2 ticks. But let me just show you. See, there's a little curve going on there. Now, this was the gap. So, in other words, with the S&P 500 trading at 421, you can see that the 3 intraday charts that I follow, look at the way it's slid down from 430. It's dropped 10 full points, which is like about 90 points on the Dow. And it's still working its way down. You can see we went into the sell right here, on our intraday. And you see that pressure on it. And so that's the answer to that. Let's see, what else can we say about any of this? I guess that's about it. We'll see if they bring the stock market, which wouldn't surprise me. And let me get the chat line up. I thought I got the chat line up, but I did not. Sorry about that, traders. Let me go because it's like 6 minutes now, and you don't see. Okay, there it is. There's Robin, and there is hello, Bure. How about if I just call you Bure? That's easier. Okay. Hi, Bure. How you doing? Fascinating, eh? You can see, this is what we've been seeing. This is no surprise to us. We're expecting to see inflation rise. It is rising. And it's not much of a surprise. So, it's we are where we're at. At this point, interest rates are transitory. And just because the May CPI, they could revise that next month. See, May core CPI up 0.2% versus 3%. So they're getting a little excited because they're saying, "Oh my goodness." But then when you go year over year, it's 3.3, and it's let's see, core 3.4. They're taking this small victory and saying, "Oh, interest rates are transitory." That's what they're saying to us. And let's go take a look at the euro too. I'm sure they're rallying the euro. There it is, right there. That's the Turkish lira, euro. Let's go right to there. There we are. Yeah, you see that nice big spike up. You got a green and a red, and we've been in the weekly buy. That's the thing, is that we've been stuck in that weekly buy, and you can see the product had gone like that until the last Friday, where they got a little nervous, and they tried to bring it down, and now it's moving back up in the yellow. I guess I was playing with the idea of our algorithm, instead of being the cyan that I love. I was fooling around with it for some reason why we made it blue. I mean yellow. Oh, let me do that again. There it is. There you go. So you can see here the fast broke down last week from that move, and now it's trying to climb back up into the buy. But that's why we follow the slow more for when looking at for people watching our webinar. We really go with the slow because we knew that there's strength in there, and we knew that it was going to be stronger, but just that 0.1% is exciting everybody. Matter of fact, you can see it in the stock market. They sold it off. The first initial thing was after they roared it up. They went from 85 to 30. It was like a 45-point move, and a Dow Jones move up to about 300 points. You can see here. Now that I would assume this is the one that will roll over. You can see here we've got it. Went into the buy on an intraday basis right here, and it's climbed up here back to 27, and it's pushing, and then it pushed into the sell. Let's see if it's just jumped back into the buy again. Let's see if that rolls over. Right now, that's got that look like it's going to go zigzag like this for a while. I don't. In other words, this one right here, it's just going to zigzag sideways. If this gets back into the sell, there's a good chance it'll come down and meet this line right there. That's pretty much what we'll probably see. You can see our nonlinear time manifolds right here, and Bure. What we do here is we look at algorithms. We've been following algorithms for almost 50 years, our algorithm that we invented, and we do it on an intraday basis, and a daily basis, and a weekly basis, and you can see the success rate on the screen that we show you. We're about 8.6 out of 10 right, so almost like, it's almost 9 out of 10. 8 out of 10 were right, and the math is right. Let's put it that way. And so you can see we just tried to. We went into the buy right here, and it failed. That's interesting, right there. Serge. Okay, I'll call you Sergia. Sergia. 85. Yeah, 86% out of 100. So it's not too bad. And so, we'll see how this plays out. I like how. Well, let's see if I like. I understand how, not like. I understand how they're anticipating this transitory interest rate situation, but I'm not confident. Not very confident that we're going to see any interest rate cuts or any of that for the time being. I think that if we were going to see interest rate cuts from something like this, that would be a real surprise because, year over year we've gone up, and they could, we need a couple months to confirm that it's going sideways on the inflation. So we really do. We can't just go with 1 month here, unchanged versus 0.1%. I mean, that's not enough. And the May core was up 0.2, and they were estimating 0.3. That's not. And the May CPI year over year is 3.3, and it was estimated to be 3.4. But May core was 3.4, estimated to be 3.5. In other words, it's just not enough. 0.1%. We need 3 months of that to show us that inflation is calming down. It just, it would be very foolish if the Fed went and tried to cut this afternoon because of those numbers. They would look at it as just a political ploy, and if they do, well then, that will freak people out, because then it'll only force the market to do even more liquidation. Now, we know that the pressure on the U.S. market is on the upside for two reasons. One is because the administration is trying to the administration is trying to get interest rates dropped so it'll help them in the election. But at the same time, the market is firm because they think Mr. Trump is going to win. Mr. Trump is up big in the polls, and their campaign policy is to have him arrested. I mean, put in jail. That's their campaign policy at this point. They don't have anything else. They can't talk about inflation. They can't talk about productivity. They can't talk about policy. They can't talk about food prices. They can't do any of that. So the only strategy they have at the moment is they want to put Mr. Trump in jail. And so that's not going to work, because the people see that as Democrats are saying, if they put him in jail, we're voting for him. I mean, we have Democrats saying that. So Sergio says, Fed always surprises me. The Fed, I want to agree with you on that. His statements surprise me. Not the actions as much, but the statements. The action, let's put it this way. I have found that the Fed is irresponsible. So that confirms what you're saying, that the Fed, they surprise all of us on the foolishness and the way they've been doing things. So I agree with you totally there. The Fed, I think I've called them I've made titles of webinars how out of control the Fed is at this point. It's a very irresponsible Fed. They do irresponsible things. They say things and do things that is not natural to the way the United States has worked for a couple hundred years. Ever since 2009 and quantitative easing, they should have just stopped the quantitative easing after 2 years, year and a half. Instead, it's still here today. We have an $8 or $9 trillion balance sheet. It depends on what you trust when you see what they publish. They're not willing to be audited. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you. The Fed is truly surprising on what they say. There's a little surprising on their action. They are surprising on their actions, but when you look at them through a political point of view, they have lost credibility. And so the surprising part is it it's sad. Let's put it that way. That what they do is very, very sad. Let's see. Let's see. Everything was so much better. Now we have world chaos. Yeah, and so unfortunately, it is not what it should be. You're right, and it's very disappointing. And the actions are flat out almost criminal at this point. That's the weirder part, almost criminal. So, all right, you can see there's this, the stock market. Let's go back over to the euro. I just want to see what the euro is doing, and then we'll do let's see the dollar index too. Let me just check out dollar index at the moment. There it blows, the great white whale, the dollar index, and there's the dollar index. And you see here, at first, oh no, this is a daily. So today, this is daily. So today they've moved it down. There's no doubt about it. It was in a buy for 3 days. Excuse me. Sorry about that. There we go. All right. So you can see here, it went into the buy on that crazy Friday last week that drove things up, and made them all concerned. Matter of fact, I'm not sure where the buy signal is, but it's right there. I think it went into the buy the day before, actually. So it was anticipating that move. You can see our weeklies in the sell still, right there. It's in a downwardly sloped, the dollar. This might be another lower peak right here. We expect the dollar to move back into the 101, 102 area. Politics are definitely clouding the picture from the Federal Reserve and everywhere else at this point. You can see the same thing. Let's see, there it is right there. Dollar index. Let's give this a spin. See if it adjusts it again. Is that? Let's see. Let's just double check here on the beta. Yeah. So the beta is still a little behind because it's 15-minute delayed. Let me just show you that right there. You can see it right there, and then we'll just reset it. And then obviously once the news comes out, it'll put it down here somewhere on the beta side. So we're looking at the regular platform as we speak. All right. What else? Let's go back to the currencies now. Unless someone wants to see something. If you want to see something, let me know and we'll go look at it. I have no problem roaming around let's see what gold did with that. Gold was lifting up this morning as it was. So, but our weekly is still down. You can see the fast is trying to turn. This is live right here. So gold is firming up. That's we're seeing that from that action there. Let's go take a look at the cable. Cable was much firmer than the euro yesterday. So you can see here, it's already taken out these highs here. Whereas when we look at the euro is still having to do a lot more work to get up into this area there. So there's the cable again, and cable is trying to turn up, and we're in the weekly buy as we've been saying now since back down in here. And you can see here the fast wouldn't even break down, whereas the euro's fast did break down last week. It's the cable is becoming the much more firmer, stronger pairs trade versus the euro. So from there we go over to the Swiss. There's the Swiss. You see it's been in a buy for 3 days. That Friday really shook things up. The question is, will they take out the low of Friday? That's the question, really. And you can see here we're in that weekly sell from up in here, and so it is in a downwardly trend. We really feel that the Swiss are doing a really fine job of fighting the inflation. So that's not bad right there alone. Just that particular action we're seeing at the moment. Let's see, where else are we now? So then from there, we shoot over to, where do we shoot over to? We shoot over to the yen. I imagine the yen should be backing off a little bit, and it is. As you can see, like pretty much all the currencies are, because the interest rates shift. And you can see, matter of fact, it's playing with the daily sell as we speak right now. It's at minus 0.23. So we're breaking the zero line. When you break the zero line, like right here, you get weakness. When you break the zero line on the upside, you get strength, weakness. We put these lines in just so you can see, because this may not be as clear seeing it get through the zero line. And so right now, the weekly buy seems to be holding up. Today's what, Wednesday, right? Yeah, we're Wednesday. So we'll see how they treat this over the next couple days. And our little barometer right here is we're getting that zigzag movement. Again, that jumped back into a buy from down here in the 20-ish area and popped up. And now it's not in the sell. It's in the sell here in this work right here. You can see it broke off for a couple bars, because this is an intraday, and now it's jumping back into the buy again. And here we go again, and it looks like maybe we'll take out the high of today and then be trapped. And we were looking to see if it would try to make it to this line. It has not. Will this pop bring it to the 544.5 area on the S&P? Once it jumps into an intraday buy, in the bar, we don't try to tell you how far it's going to go. We just know it's going to go up. And then we look at some of these different lines on here. And there we go. They just made a new high. Yeah, they're making that new high from the buy. And, these are all-time highs at the same time. And so as Robin and I've talked about on here, you have, it looks like resistance, but you're at all-time highs. And if you can't sell at all-time highs, when can you sell? So it's never a surprise when you're at all-time highs to see a little selling during the day, because someone's got to take a profit. If you don't take a profit now, when are you going to take a profit? And we used to say on this webinar, many times we used to say, if you don't sell when you're making a profit, the next time you're selling is when you're losing. So take a profit. And you can see here they've just made another all-time high, intraday high, and doing again right there. That tick of 540.30 and a quarter is, an all-time high. And so it's vacillating. I expect this thing to, on the bigger charts of intraday, go sideways. And you can see here pretty much the same way. You see it's sideways. They'll go up and nibble, like they just made a new all-time high right there, and now we're pushing into the sell on our work again right there. And you can see that it's breaking down, and it's in a sell. So we'll see if it goes below this line right there, which I would expect it, with it being underneath in the sell. So, but that line's not that far off. You're only looking at 429, basically 428, something like that. Is that it? Really? Where's it at? 427 and change? What is that? 428.50. So almost made it there, and maybe this push down will do it. But you're not talking about much moves. I mean, we're sitting a quarter point. Now we're at all-time highs. Now we just made a new all-time high. We're so tight. This market is so tight in the stock indice, that at all-time highs, that shifting back and forth is nothing. And that's why I say I think you're going to see more sideways action on on these bigger charts, especially this one here. This is what is this? This is a 6,300 contract. Every time it trades 6,300 contracts, it makes a bar. Whereas this one is just 693. It's the old Tesla number. And then this one over here is 2,690. So, they're bigger time frames like that there, or spatial time frames, as we like to call it. All right, where'd we leave off? Yen, right? So go back to the yen. There's the yen, and the yen is, gaining against the dollar. When it goes down, it's gaining against the dollar. When it's going up, it's losing against the dollar, because this is the dollar-yen pair, not the yen-dollar pair. We do always look at products like as if we live outside the United States, and that's why we look at euro dollar versus dollar euro. We look at cable dollar versus dollar euro cable, that type of thing. So I always say we are, Eurocentric in a sense. All right, so that is the yen, and you can see it's trying to break down a little bit. Would be nice if they did. Unfortunately, the weekly, which is through the manifold, but it hasn't broken the zero line here on the bottom chart, and this is a weekly trend. And so we look at weekly trends, daily trends, so forth, and intraday trends. From there, we go over to the Great Experiment, which we gave it its name since we've been following this product since it was around 3 to the euro, and that is the Turkish lira, which is now trading at 35 to the. So talk about inflation. The euro Turkish lira pairs trade has gone from 3 and 2 area all the way up to 35. So instead of having to give you 2 Turkish liras for a euro, you're now giving 35 Turkish liras. You can see it's trying to get back into the daily buy. It's been in the weekly buy since the 34.60 area, something like that. And we've moved all the way up. We had one wild day there, but in the end it closed up for the day. And then you can see up in here we've created these rectangles, thinking that they're going to get trapped in that type of range. We kind of thought that this range started to show that it was calming down. The volatility was calming down, and it seems to have too. We're not swinging to 38, 39 down to 31, that type of thing, like the way the ruble can do that. So, all right, and then from there we go to South Africa for looking at gold and silver, and unfortunately, that's tangled up in a lot of politics at the moment. And there it is right there. It's trading in the 1850-ish area. It's been moving down for the last couple of days, and normally that means the gold is going to try to move up in value. And when we go back to Mr. and Mrs. Gold, you see, ever since the crazy Friday slide of over 100 points, it has been trying to go up in value. And it's just now starting to turn back into the daily buy. And if we get into a weekly buy, then we start thinking that it's going to take out the all-time highs over here and move up about 100 points. From there, as we look at the South African rand, obviously when it was rising, gold was dropping. Now last Friday, this does not even represent the action we saw, but that's because the South African rand should be around 12, not 18.5, and it's got a haircut of almost 33%, as we would say on the trading floors or the trading desks. We call that a haircut. In other words, it's trading with a premium that it shouldn't have, but the politics has it trapped.
Market data connection lost.
We keep on looking for a government down there. They had elections 10
Market
days ago
data
now, I guess it is.
Reestablished.
And they have not. The ANC lost an enormous slice to Zuma, and so instead of having 50 some odd percent, they only have like 39 or 40%. And the DA party is a capitalist party, whereas the ANC is a communist party. So the chances of them teaming up with the DA is slim. Problem is that the Zuma party, and Zuma's living in. They want to arrest him because he's obviously been convicted of murdering dozens and dozens of people. And so he's living outside the country, but the two other parties that won that they could team up with want to take the property of all white people, and one of them wants to kill all white people. So it's a little violent down there right now, more than usual. So the ANC doesn't have the support that it used to have. The extremes are kind of leaving the party. And so that's why it carries a 33% haircut. I can show you another one that's very fascinating. Every time you get these communists getting power and so forth, you see this right here. This is the dollar Mexican peso. Okay, and the Mexican peso was rallying against the dollar, doing fantastic for a bunch of years. Let's see if we can go back enormous amounts of time, because it was the strongest potential brick. It was going to be a brick country, and then all of a sudden they decided that they don't want to be a brick, because they found out that they were going to be the number one brick in the world. So, in other words, China's not, it once, is a brick country, but, its currency is not floating, so it's awful hard to judge the value of that. And so, you can see back in, April of 22, that's what we have. At one time, the socialists got in there, and, it smoothed itself out. It was going to be a brick, and then just in the last couple of days, you can see the massive explosion it's had right there. Just the last week, they had elections also last week, and from those elections, the communists got the seat of the presidency for 6 years, and you can see they've taken the currency from the 16.5 area to the 18.5 area over a 10-day period. And so it kind of, and this was when they showed it looks like the president was going to win. They panicked one day, and now they've gotten there. They've taken it out. We used to follow this very closely because we thought that if Mexico, if Mexico was joined the BRICS, it would have been the number one brick, and then obviously the South African rand would have been the number two brick, and then from there the Indian rupee would be the number three brick, and then the ruble and the Chinese yuan would have been nothing. It would have been like just those three countries: Mexico, South African rand, and the nifty the Indian rupee would have been something like 80% of the brick as an index, maybe even 85% of the brick, 86%, something like that. And then possibly if Russia wasn't in such problems in Europe, then it would have been like it would have been Russia would have been the fourth brick, and I guess we would have made China the fourth brick, and then China would have been the fifth brick. Like the way the dollar index has six currencies. I think Brazil and China would have been fighting for numbers 5 and 6. I think that's how it would have been. So it would have been Brazil or China. Maybe 2% of it, or would have been in the brick China, and maybe 1 or 2% would have been the Brazilian real, and then it would have been like maybe 4% of the ruble, and then from there, it would have been like then you would have had from there like almost 90% would have been Mexico. Mexico, South Africa, and then the rupee. Now, because of the politics in South Africa, the rupee and the South African rand would probably be about equal, and probably the Mexican peso would have boosted up more. Now, because of the politics in that, it's really turning into a really poor situation. The BRICS now don't have any real powerhouse to be able to carry them in any way. And at one point, having, a couple years ago, having the South African rand and the Mexican peso, I would say the Mexican peso would have been 56% of the index, and something like the South African rand would have been something like maybe almost 20% of it, something like that, and then the rupee would have been like the other like 14 or 15% to make about 90%, and then the bottom three, the ruble and the Brazil or the Brazilian real or the Chinese yuan would have been the last 10% of it out of the three of them. But now they're all having problems, because in many ways, I guess you could say the rupee is probably moving up dramatically against the South African rand and also the Mexican peso. But Mexico has decided not to be in the BRICS. And so, we really don't have anything there at this point. It's really getting uglier. So, there is no... That's 5. I don't even know who else to... I think Nigeria has been talking about going in there. Nigeria could be, I guess tie with the rupee? I don't know, something like that. It's hard to say. No, they're not exactly capitalist countries, so, they don't grow as economies. And that's the thing is Mexico is the largest trading partner with the United States. And then China is the second largest trading partner with the United States. So that's what gave Mexico such strength. But now that they have a communist or someone that supports communist policies, it's really hurting that currency now too. You can see it over the last 10 days. All right, that's the talk of the BRIC. And I guess that could literally be the title of this webinar today, is the transitory interest rates and what's the other one? What do you think? Transitory interest rates and the fall of the BRICS when it comes to leadership. I mean, really. Let's see. Let's see. Oop, there we go. All right, so where do we go from here? Let's take a look at silver. Unless someone wants to see something, So, let's go find that. Let's see. Silverado. Right there. And it's trying to get into the buy also. You see it's above the 0 line. It was trying to slide into the weekly sell, and as the week is progressing, it's moving back up towards the 0 line. It was much lower before, so it is becoming very interesting. The fact that it is doing that situation, that's the problem. Is that the action we're seeing is really there's like there is no other place to go, I guess you could say. That's what it feels like at times. And it's really surprising that we see the strength that we do see. From there, I mean, in other words, if you feel uncomfortable with the dollar and and currencies in general and the interest rates, metals is a product that people can put their teeth into, I guess you could say. Same thing here with platinum. You see, platinum is trying to bounce up. Went into the sell last week and there to this week. And then you could take a look and see at copper. Now, copper, no doubt, again, another land, and then also another land company in, another land company in China has fallen apart again. So it just seems like, it never stops. You know, it's let's see. So. You know, I mean, that's the wild thing about it all, is that we're losing. There we are. So at this point, you know, we see the metals starting to lift again. You know, the copper might be lifting because they're thinking, oh my God, another, you know, what do you call it? Another real estate company declaring bankruptcy. And that probably has, you know, a lot of people, you know, basically that's a real ugly affair going on. You know, I mean, that is. I mean, there's no other way of putting it at this point. And so that's where we are. You know, let's go take a look at the energies. And if you do have something you want to look at, just let us know and we'll go tune into it. All right, from there, we drift over to oil. And there's crude oil. You see it's lifting up again last night. Let's put it up on beta too. It's showing that strength. And you can see it's trying to climb into the weekly buy as we speak. So let's put the little box in that we normally put in. Where is it at? Right. Where's my little box? Right there? Yeah, right there. There we go. You see we're starting to flirt with a weekly buy. And then, let's see, go with... from there, we jump into, let's see, let's go take a look at Brent. Brent right there. Brent's doing the same thing. We're moving up in strength. You can see the daily buys right there, 5 days. And the weekly is trying to go. Let me see what, I didn't look at the weekly on the beta. Now this is, our beta is a beta platform. We're trying to improve it, and we will. Maybe tomorrow we might see a new copy of it, and so the beta is showing us that how do we do this? The beta is showing us that it closed in a weekly sell last week again, and then Monday and Monday and Tuesday it's in a sell at the moment still, whereas this action the last couple days is in daily buys, as you can see there. 5 days in a daily buy now, right there. 4 days, I'm sorry, 4 days in a daily buy. And so with that, we're expecting to see more strength in the weekly starting to turn back up. Now the Brent, same situation, and it's it's still in the sell, but I wouldn't be surprised by the end of the week it had a shot at it. We'll take a look at natural gas here. Natural gas is backing off a little bit, nothing major. Actually, now it's popped back up again. And let's take a look at the energy company in Spain. That really gives us a real clear picture. That's yesterday, right? That's the 12th. Where's the 11th? Well, what's happened is that it's still down. Maybe they halted it. I'm not sure. That's the, what is that? That's the 10th. So what we're looking at here with the Spanish energy company is that for a second day it's down here, and our daily is not reflecting today yet, and since it's not in the system, yesterday is missing altogether. As you can see here, this just let's see, do this, go like this. You can see the energy company in Spain is reflecting Friday and Monday, and the 11th information is missing, and the 12th on the beta. So, either way, it's telling us it's down in the 21 area and it's fallen from 25. This is politics again. This is policy. The European Union now is center right, so they're going to remove the things that have been hurting the European Union energy wise, and that's important. That's really, really, really important. So that is the flavor of the month, I guess you could say. Any questions out there? Please ask, because when's the last time anybody ever heard about the BRICS? I bet that was a unique little conversation just now, because no one's really talking about the BRICS. We do see new settlement, lines of I guess what do we call it? Clearing. Like when you clear trades, you clear checks, that type of thing. We're seeing that, but we're not really seeing anything else from that, So that is, where we're at. Alrighty. So, from there, we go to, what do we go to? We've shown the energies, we've shown the currencies. Let's go take a look at the stock indices. We've been rambling about the currencies there for a little while. There it is there. They made another all-time high, and they sold it down to just 3 points. 3 handles is nothing. And to a great extent, we're getting that, but it keeps on trying to be firm. So, we'll just see how it plays out. But let's go take a look at. Where we go here. Let's jump over to. Where's it at? Let's put it up on the screen here. We'll go back to the beta, and we'll take a look at the Nikkei from last night. Unless someone wants to see something, we will look at the Nikkei. There it is right there. Nikkei still in the buy from last night. It's in a daily buy for 3 days, and you can see here. You can see the weekly. It's been in a weekly buy now for 5 weeks. So, it's been in the buy since back here, I guess you could say. That's 5 weeks back. So you can see it's had a very strange pathway from up to down to back up again. When we go over to the Kospi in South Korea, right there, you see the same situation. 5 days in a daily buy. Actually, it's 4 days right there. Let's see if we had the same problems. So there's the 10th and there's the 11th. So it's not having that problem as the other one did. And you can see there's the buys, and then you can see the weekly is still in the weekly sell. And you can see overall, since that weekly sell, back in here, it came down from the top up there and then moved down and then moved back up again here, and now we've moved down, and it's just sideways. And the dailies have been the only things helping out, keeping you honest with the two of them. Then from there, we go to Taipei. Where is that? TII. Right there, there's Taipei. See, it's had some strength in it. It keeps on marching, and you can see it's 5 full weeks now Actually, it's not. Yeah, it's not actually reflecting this week, is it? I'm a little confused there. It should be. It should have been a tenth in there, but it's at least 5 full weeks in a buy, and you can see it's been moving in that pressure in that direction on the upside. Let's take a look at the Shanghai. Where's the Shanghai? Right there. This is Shanghai in China. Let's see. And the Shanghai is just, spinning around. It's in a sell for 3 full weeks, and you can see the pressure on it. They obviously knew that they were going to have another major bankruptcy. So basically, all the land companies, the top land companies, and about 25 to 30% of the economy have declared bankruptcy. And then from there, and so from there, what else we got going on? Let's go to the Shanghai. I'm sorry, the Hong Kong. Let's take a look at the Hong Kong. The Hang Seng. HS. Hang Seng. Where are you, Hang Seng? There it is. Hang Seng. You see, Hang Seng has been doing a lot of selling on a daily basis right there. Weekly basis just for a couple of weeks. And it had a nice, interesting run on the upside here. And you could see that the Shanghai at the time was trying to do the same thing. It was trying to, it was in the buy, and it was running up, no doubt about it, from the 3,000-ish area to the 3,150 area, and then it's rolled over. From there, we'll take a look at the Singapore Straits Times, which seems to be the real strength anymore when it comes to that region between China and Singapore. There it is, the Straits Times, and a lot of investments going on there. And you can see it's been roaring, or it's been very steadily moving up since early April. We've been in a buy, and this week it's starting to, looks like it's, okay, so there it is. There's the 10th there. So it closed in a buy and is now starting to push into a sell. That's what that is. You can see that it's coming, pushed the daily sell. It's been a daily sell for 6 days, 5 days. What's that? 5 days there. Yep, 5 days. And you can see the weekly has tried to roll over the last 2 days, the 10th and the 11th. Then from there, boom, 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 boom. Where do we go from there? I guess we're running out of time, so let's take a look at the Europeans. I want to see the Nifty 50. Let's take a look at the Nifty 50. There's the Nifty 50 because we talked about it a little while ago. That politics has really freaked it out. The election, they did poorer than they were expecting, but I believe they're still in power, and that's why it bounced back. And you can see here, in the last 3 days, it's been in a buy since here. It's not really taking off too much. And you can see the weekly is all over the place. Last week it closed in a buy. This week it's trying to start off in a sell again. And last couple of weeks before it fell apart, it was in a sell to begin with. So it went into the sell, weekly sell in here, and then you had this crazy slam. Let's take a look at the DAX. There's the DAX. You see the DAX is trying to lift up like the U.S. market is. And you can see we're trying to climb into a weekly buy there now. And the daily has been really jumpy. It's like 4 out of the last 5 days it's been in a daily buy. You can see a lot of green dots. Hasn't really gone anywhere. It's not taking out the all-time highs. Let's jump over to the FTSE because let's see what the French looks like. The French has been down for the last 2 days, and it's trying to climb into the buy from it, though. That's the interesting thing, is the big sell-off because of the elections, another political thing. It's been in a weekly sell for 5 weeks there. That's probably, one thing is for sure, is that when it was in a sell, it definitely caught the signal, that's for sure. All right, we'll see FTSE, and then we're going to walk out of here. There's the FTSE, and it's trying to lift up. It is away from its all-time high over there. You can see that's the all-time highs right in there. And you can see here it's doing that vacillating in the daily signal 4 out of the last 5 days. And it was in a sell last week, and it's still in the sell at the moment. We'll see how well they turn around. So, traders, we're out of here. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow, same time, same channel. It's been fun talking. So, happy trails to you until we meet again. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, traders. Have a safe and smart trading.